bold journalism,
But Drew Hernandez is a strong-minded individual.
exposing
Drew
lawlessness,
Hernandez, who is ideological
finding the truth,
and used the word Antifa.
This is what they do.
Battling
They're
mainstream
liars. The woke mob, all they can do is lie.
These are the front lines.
What's going on, Thought Criminals? Welcome to Frontlines. I am your host, Drew Hernandez. I'm here with the great ALX. I mean, if you don't know who ALX is, I mean, you probably haven't been paying attention to what's going on Twitter with Elon Musk and the people that have been resurrected back from the dead, that have been banned, sent to the digital abyss to no longer have a voice or freedom of speech. You've been all over the place doing Twitter spaces, really kind of like showing why you were banned. In my opinion, the reason why they censor people like you, censor people like Alex Jones, the list goes on, Savannah Hernandez, right, is because the moment you come back, you're all over the place.
Yeah.
And you're communicating with the public with some truth.
Yep.
Talk to us how your experience has been coming back to the platform.
Yeah, so I've been back a little over a month now. And I was actually the second account brought back after Donald Trump. It was less than an hour after. And really, you've seen with the Twitter files, which I kind of played a part in the release of because my original tweet was calling for the release of the files, having to do with the communication to the Hunter Biden laptop suppression with Twitter. And after that, I was actually in a Twitter space with Elon Musk and asked if all of the files would be released. And he said yes. So you're seeing everyone thought that there was going to be, some social media censorship for political purposes released in all of these, but we're now seeing the details that the FBI was involved, that the people that didn't want any COVID misinformation to be censored, were involved in the Biden administration. So basically we all kind of knew what was going on, but now we're seeing the hard evidence of it. And we're also seeing all of these people righteously reinstated. So we have Dr. Malone, McCullough, Mike Lindell, James O'Keefe. All of these people who've been spreading the truth and were censored for doing so are being brought back righteously by Elon Musk. And yeah, since I've been brought back, I've been bringing attention to all these accounts that need to be brought back as well, and trying to expose as much information that I'm seeing from the Twitter files to my audience. But yeah, it's been a wild ride since I've been back.
So brother, talk to us, let's just say we got someone listening and they're like, why is it wrong for a massive social media company to be working hand in hand with the FBI? Is that really a bad thing? I mean, I know the answer to this question, but break it down for us why it's problematic that you have the so-called former trust and safety head of Twitter, Yoel Roth, that is kind of interestedly into children in a very strange way, working literally hand in hand with the FBI to even monitor the sitting president of the United States. Why is that problematic?
Yeah, so number one, it's a First Amendment issue because now you have the government basically suppressing speech. And in the Twitter Files 6 release, you saw 80 FBI agents in touch about election interference or election misinformation accounts that had little to no engagement on these memes. Meanwhile, there was a report of the child exploitation material that was taken down recently under Elon Musk. And the report revealed that since 2017, there have been these active accounts that they were recently taken down. And they had over 10 million collective views that were allowed to stay on the platform for 4 years. Meanwhile, the FBI, instead of focusing on illegal content, which Section 230 immunity gives them immunity from all of the content on their platform because there's so much, but it's given in good faith that Twitter is going to go after all of this illegal content. Instead of focusing on that, instead of 80 FBI agents focusing on that, they're focused on these low-level accounts that are posting political memes. So it's an issue because the FBI and these people in the government are going after political speech rather than illegal content, which they're supposed to be focused on and obviously shouldn't be on the platform.
Including child exploitation, child
yes.
pornography.
Yeah.
We're more concerned with a meme that's a danger to society than an actual child and the distributor of that child pornography.
Yes, exactly. So those accounts were left on the platform for over 4 years. And like I said, 10 million views were racked up. And then even threats against people, threats against children with the Covington Catholic people. Those threats were allowed to remain on the platform for over 24 hours. And then also they only got a temporary suspension. They got a 12-hour lockout and they had to delete that. And that's actual illegal content. Meanwhile, these low-level people were posting memes and they're getting taken down completely. And like I got censored, I believe, for my political beliefs, and I'm not alone in that. A lot of other people, hopefully that we'll find out more. But yeah, like you said, all of this illegal content is allowed to stay on their platform. And if that's the thing, I don't believe it's an issue if law enforcement are involved with social media, if they're actually going after illegal content. I believe there's a place for that. But for political speech during an election, or for the government to come in and say, this person is saying something against the CDC or whatever, and they end up being right, or the WHO, and they're censoring these doctors, these people who have been doing this for a living, like Robert Malone, I'm pretty sure invented our mRNA technology.
Pioneer.
Yeah, and he's being
Telling
censored.
the world, hey, we got a problem here.
Like it's actually insane, and it's a First Amendment issue at that point.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you really think about like where the direction the culture is going, where you have people that are actually okay with it, which is so insane to me, because that's where we have gotten to here in the timeline in the United States of America, right? It makes sense why the FBI is saying, hey, if you're a right winger, you love the Second Amendment. If you're a mega Republican, that's pretty much extremism. So it makes sense that they're behind the scenes communicating with Twitter, hey, these are the people we need to go after because they're a threat to democracy. That's always the crap that they give us.
Yeah.
All right, what's your take on that one? That's all they ever throw around. Threat to democracy, threat to democracy.
They do not understand that they are the threats to democracy, because they're the ones subverting the voices, free voices of the people. They're acting as another arm of the DNC, basically, because these people, and people always make the defense. It's like, oh, these people were the same as like the FBI under Trump. They don't realize that these bureaucrats have been in the system for years.
Yeah.
They've already they're part of the government. So it's not the FBI direction or under Trump or under this certain person. They've been in the system for so long. So by them subverting democracy, and that's what they're doing, and censoring people's free voices, they're the true threats to democracy.
Yep.
I mean, we have a republic, but that's what they call it. And yeah, like them calling us a threat to democracy, they don't even realize that they themselves are the ones.
When they're the ones that are anti-First Amendment, anti-American, they want to suppress free speech because they find it as a threat to whatever they have to say or their existence. When libs of TikTok is getting death threats, threatened to be literally firebombed on the platform, but you know, they could stay up, but they turn it around on her in the Twitter files when it came. That's what intrigued me. They turned it around on her, said that she's the threat, to people's lives, when she's literally being called to be murdered and firebombed on the platform. But no, they shadow ban her and they want to take away her voice. That's by design. It has to be.
Yeah.
It's a political opponent that you're taking down.
Yeah, and the thing is, this all started with the banning of Donald Trump, because when they took down his account, they even acknowledged that there was no clear policy violation. And then they used that. They were going to try and ban Matt Gaetz and Don Jr., but they're using that for the libs of TikTok. They're like, we don't have a clear policy violation, but some people might interpret it as incitement to violence, aka by like posting this pre-existing content that all these people are actually putting out there on their own profiles. She's just highlighting them.
Literally putting up a mirror to these people.
Exactly.
And in the Twitter files, what you're saying, they literally said that.
Yes.
We determined that this person, libs of TikTok, violated our hate policies because of the intent of the post, which is wild, because they're dictating your intent of what you're actually saying.
Yeah, and
It's crazy.
Some
1984, straight up.
Some Twitter employee, I think there was one that expressed that concern, is saying this is slippery slope because we acknowledge this isn't violating the platforms, but the intent and them interpreting the intent is what's dangerous, because it's a slippery slope and it leads to exactly what's happening to libs of TikTok.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you this. What's the next step? I think Elon is doing a great job. He does make some statements that I'm like, okay, we got to hold him accountable. Does freedom of speech not mean freedom of reach? Okay, that has to be held accountable. I never think we should put someone in a position where they're just untouchable and we can't hold them accountable. But furthermore, he is doing a great job.
Yes.
What he's done for free speech for the United States of America in the last, 2 months is phenomenal. So what's the next step? Anything you could share or reveal with us? Because I know you do have some contacts with him every now and then. What can you share with us? Or what's the next? Oh, in your opinion, what's the next step?
The next step. So a lot of people have criticized the way he's releasing them, and it's been in batches. He wants to release all of them, but releasing them all at once will leave people like confused, and they won't know what to focus on. That's why he's releasing them in highlights, but he will eventually release all of them. And then also the next step is, I believe he's going to cooperate with Congress and testify with like the Hunter Biden stuff. And just in general with the big tech companies. So I think the next step is him providing all of this information. And that's been the problem with big tech companies testifying before Congress, is that they do not have the information needed because the people testifying are trying to keep it from them. Now we have someone who's willing to turn over everything to Congress. So if there's any violations of free speech, or if Jack Dorsey lied under oath, you're going to find that actual evidence so that we can work with it. So that's the next step there. And then as far as holding Elon accountable, myself, I am a big fan of him. I reply to him a lot. He replies to me. I agree with that. With the freedom of reach thing, I've actually came up with a solution for that would benefit the advertisers, which he's worried about, and then also free speech generally. They already have a hate speech filter. That's what they hide. By default, they hide that to rid hate speech from the platform. My idea is to use the pre-existing mute feature that they already have, use all of those hate speech terms as a filter that users can opt in or out of. If you're offended by hate speech, you should be able to opt in and say, I want to hide these terms. But don't force it among people, which is already done by default. And then also use that same filter to not place ads next to hate speech. That was a simple solution where users could have the power to opt in or out of, rather than it be forced on them and censoring and preventing reach, which is his current position, only because the advertisers tell him.
I like that because it still puts the power in your own hands. Right?
Exactly.
It still gives you the autonomy to hear what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear, and that's exactly how it should literally be. ALX, back on Twitter, dude. Amazing takes. Where can they follow you? Not just on Twitter, your other socials, other things you got going on. Where can the people follow you, brother?
The main is Twitter right now, at ALX. I'm also on Instagram, ALX the Lord. Truth Social, ALX. Those are the main ones right now.
There you have it. Well, we got Savannah Hernandez coming up next when we come back from the break, so stay with us. And we are back. I'm here with Wonder Woman herself, Savannah Hernandez, my sister from another mister. We are here. We are live. It is amazing. And I just got done talking with ALX about everything going on with Elon, the Twitter files. I think we're at six, right? But I want to hear directly from you as well, because you, and I make this point all the time on the show, is Savannah Hernandez is not anybody new, okay? She's not like a rising star. Sav has been at this for a long time. It's just that you got banned on Twitter and they literally destroyed you.
Yeah.
And for the past, 2 years?
2 years.
Right? So now that you're back, what's changed? Have you seen, because I told ALX the same thing. I'm like, it makes sense why they banned certain people.
Right.
Because the moment they come back, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
And they're like exposing all kinds of stuff. So what's your experience been like now coming back on the platform?
Coming back, the growth has been incredible. So basically when they banned me, I was at, I think 120,000 followers. I've since gotten double that. Shout out to the Streisand effect, right? When you try to silence something, when you try to shut something down, people are going to go tenfold and go follow that. So it's been incredible. It's been great being able to report again. The first thing that I did back was the UNM Charlie Kirk protest. So it was great to be on the ground for that. And again, I think our coverage got close to 1 million views with all of the videos together. Yeah. I was in San Francisco. We were able to show people what's going on in the streets over there. That got 250,000 views. So it's been great. And you know what? That's why they had to censor journalists like myself. That's why they have to shadow ban Drew Hernandez, because we're actually out on the ground showing people exactly what's going on. And I've said this time and time again, but I feel so grateful that I'm finally able to once again give the American people a voice, because that's why I got into this, right? To go out on the street and talk to the common man who wouldn't be heard and say, hey, how are you feeling about America under the current administration? Hey, how are you feeling about your financial situation lately? Let's combat some of these narrative and media lies. So it's been beautiful to get back out. I have a piece coming out regarding San Francisco, the actual residents who live there, telling me how horrific it is to live in, under the city's policies, what it's really like. And it's been great. Being back on Twitter has been amazing.
To go to your point, it's just so psychotic and interesting to see. Being a reporter, being a journalist, it literally is as simple as that.
It really is. Yeah.
Just giving a voice to the people, communicating to the people. This is what's going on.
Yeah.
And to see where we are now in the future, 2022, where the new public town square is obviously Twitter. It's on social media.
Right.
To see them intentionally suppressing journalists and suppressing that voice of the people while turning around and saying, oh, well, the right wingers are the threat to democracy. Explain to the people why that is such an authoritarian threat to the republic and the American. story.
Well, I think we too can look at the leftist meltdown, right? When all of these quote unquote journalists got banned for doing the exact thing that Elon Musk told them not to do. You're already seeing the change in the rhetoric now with these journalists who are from CNN or the Washington Post saying, oh, this is a threat to democracy. How are you going to silence the voices of the American people? Now, granted, what's happening to them isn't actually the silencing of the American people. They are legitimately trying to get their accounts banned because they've never faced any consequence. But you know what they're arguing for is exactly what we've been going through for the past couple of years, right? Because the censorship didn't start 2 years ago. People have been censored for years at this point, and it was just very sneaky. Remember that Alex Jones is one of the main big people who is still censored on Twitter, by the way.
Band.video, by the way.
Yeah, go to band.video and go check out his stuff. The reason they want him censored and silenced is because why? The Alex Jones is right jar. He was waking people up. He was the OG. So the importance of censorship was that the liberal lies cannot hold up to the actual truth. They can't push back. They cannot use their narrative to try to counter what we're doing, because what we're doing is simply going out and showing the American people the truth of where the country currently is under progressive policy, where the education system is currently at, what our children are being subjected to, what these bad, political policies are making our streets look like. And you can't argue some fake liberal point when you have video footage like, hey, this is a direct result of this bad policy. How are you going to argue that away? You can't.
And like now they're literally trying to pretty much position themselves as if they where all of us were the past 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
We're being deplatformed. We're being censored when actually they're into doxing.
Yep.
They're into like allowing threats to be in their so-called journalism. Legitimate reasons to actually like, hey, you can't do that. You can't really, call for violence against anyone. But now they're trying to like switch the simulation, and now they're trying to be the martyrs, be the victims, when we actually went through an entire 4 years,
It's so
6 years of going through this.
It's just
wild.
so chef's kiss,
That's what
right?
they
I'm
always
like,
do, right?
these liberals are about to start screaming 1776, free speech for all, let's go. And we'll be like, you know what, this is great. Let's use the reverse psychology on them. And I'm glad that they're getting a taste of their own medicine. And now they're slowly starting to care about constitutional rights. It's very strange to me, but I love to see it.
And also, so-called, conservatives or right-wingers that are pro-America and pro-free speech that didn't want to be seen with Alex Jones when he got banned, didn't want to be seen with any of the people that got deplatformed and had their free speech literally obliterated. Alex and many others, like the Laura Loomer crowd in that time, were like the sacrificial lambs. They were the test runs
to see how people would react.
Exactly.
And nobody really reacted because Alex Jones was too crazy. So obviously
so
he
talk
had to
about
get
how
banned.
that's a consequence. Why is it a consequence that no one got behind Alex, and then a few years later they're banning a sitting United States president?
Well, that is the direct consequence, right? When you see an initial issue, you need to stand up and you need to get loud about it. That's why I'm so happy with all of these parents who are immediately going to school boards and are pushing back against the indoctrination of children. Because when you see the problem, you need to nip it in the bud right away, or it will continue to rot and it will continue to spread like a cancer, like we have seen with the censorship. Remember, we had all of these Senate hearings where we had Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey basically coming up in front of the entire United States saying exactly what we all knew. But it really took a billionaire spending $44 billion for us to have free speech in the town square. And now we are seeing direct government involvement in suppressing and impeding our First Amendment rights. So it started off with, oh, Alex Jones is crazy, let's censor him. And it devolved into the United States government censoring misinformation, AKA stuff that they didn't want us criticizing them on.
I mean, the Twitter files are insane, right?
They're crazy.
They had a designated specific team monitoring the president's account, shadow banning it in real time. They deployed bots on his account, which in my opinion is like cyber warfare on a sitting United States president. These people, man, these people are literally like their own self-appointed government of the world. It's just so psycho to see that they have that power. What stuck out to you the most in the Twitter files? I know there's a lot, but if you could just pick one, which one stuck to you the most? I don't know. Was there any of it that was kind of personal to you? Like, hey, that's probably what they did to me.
Definitely, when they came out and they specifically named libs of TikTok, or Charlie Kirk even, being targeted, being shadow banned, being put under these specific labels of misinformation or not safe for work, I 1,000% know that I was targeted as well in that, which is why my face and my reporting were banned off of the platform for 2 years. It was a targeted effort to take down independent journalists who were willing to tell the truth. But guess what? We are winning, and we will utilize the truth and the power that we now have to take our country back for real this time. We are going to not silence these liberals. No, we are going to silence them with truth, because they're not going to be able to say anything to counter what we are bringing to the table. So we're not going to be silencing them. They're going to be silencing themselves, because they will have nothing to say in regards to the truth. So that's where I think we're headed, and I'm excited.
I totally agree, because like we're in the middle of an information war.
Mm-hmm.
They're engaging in cyber warfare. These people are engaging in doxing their political opponents on social media, on the platforms, calling for, like libs of TikTok to be firebombed. And I mean, these people,
Taylor
right?
Lorenz doxing everybody.
Showing up to her house like triple maxed. It's garbage. But the point I'm trying to make is, I never call for violence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not calling for violence. What I'm saying is, stop trying to appease these people and be like that not you. I'm just saying, like, if you're that conservative, that's like, oh, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I don't want to say something that's just gonna like, push someone away from. It's like, no, dude, it's either like good versus evil. You're either for America or you're not. It is literally that black and white, no pun intended. It is literally that black and white. And people just need to decide, like, what side are you literally on?
Yep.
Are you on the side of America or the global elites that want to dismantle that cabal, the United States of America? Because this whole system is on that side. Speak to us about like the global regimes, because you covered the Davos stuff and the stuff that you've seen out there. How much is that playing an involvement in what's happening here on American soil? The Great Reset, Build Back Better, all that garbage.
Well, I mean, that I go and I specifically cover the homelessness and the issue of crime and drug use in our cities. And I really do feel like that is a direct result of a lot of these Great Reset type programs, right? Where they're trying to usher in like everybody sleeping in the pods, needing to be under a one world government, because the problems in our society are just so bad. I truly am of the belief that our government degrades our society to make it easier for the people to think that they have to fix the problem. However, the majority of people don't understand that it's the same government causing that problem. So it's important for us to go to Davos, to go highlight what they're doing, because keep in mind too, the reason they go to Switzerland in the middle of this beautiful mountain resort is because they do not want the public to be able to access them and hold them to account, ask them real questions. All we end up seeing are those Twitter clips of, hey, everybody needs to have a digital vaccine passport now, and you need to reduce your carbon footprint, even though we all flew our private jets here. And then again too, like I said, you go onto the streets of America, and we are seeing the direct result of these bad policies every single day. We're seeing the result of an entire generation who thinks that the government needs to come in and save them. Our entire economy is imploding. We have rampant drug use in the streets because we have allowed the weak and progressive individuals to, again, run our society and push these different types of things that have destroyed us. So again, we need to be out. We need to be active. We need to be exposing this stuff. If you see Klaus Schwab on the streets, you go up to him and you go ask him questions, okay? Non-violently, of course.
That guy will never be in the streets. He will be on his private jet lecturing the peasants as to why they will own nothing and be happy, and why they can't be in a jet or fly in an airplane, which, by the way, Davos 2023 is coming up in January. And I'm looking at some of what they're going to be talking about. And one of the things that they literally say on their website, World Economic Forum, you can go find this. They literally say one of the things that we're concerned with is the future global world order. Okay, so when people come out and say, it's a conspiracy, no, Alex Jones is wild, it's not real, all that garbage. No, they say it out loud because the authoritarians that hate you and want to destroy you, that's the mentality. They're arrogant. They say it out in the open because they don't give a damn what you think, and they will do as thou wilt, because that is literally Satanism. Sav, where can people follow you? On Twitter. I want to keep pushing your Twitter because I hate what these people did to you. That's why we always supported you. Where can people follow you? And if you have anything coming up next, we got about 15 seconds.
Yeah, go follow me on Twitter at Sav_says_, YouTube and Rumble, Sav Says. Most importantly, the Frontline Show. I love being on here. I love reporting to this audience exactly what is going on in the streets of America. So thank you guys so much for supporting us always. Go follow us on the Rumble channel that we have here, Real America's Voice, all that great stuff. And as always, Drew, thank you for having me so we can talk about the destabilization of society.
My sister, we love you guys. That's all for tonight. I will see you guys. My name is Drew Hernandez. I will see you guys on the next one on Frontlines.
Bye, guys.